Hello everyone. You will need your purple page, your guided notes off the table, your notebook or binder, your calculator, and your pencil. You can pause the video if you still need to get these things. Alright, these are the most missed types of problems from the quiz. Solve each problem and write a sentence that explains why you think it was missed. Go ahead and pause the video so that you can work these on your warm-up. Okay, in the first one, we have a division problem. So we need to write down what is happening to the letter first, and then undo it from the bottom to the top. So if I think of order of operations, the first thing that's happening here is division by 5. Then there's a -9 being added here, which is actually the same as subtracting 9. So we're going to work from the bottom to the top, and we're going to undo. We add 9 to both sides, and we're left with v over 5 is equal to 2. Then, since we've already undone the -9, we're going to undo the divided by 5 by multiplying both sides by 5. When we do that, we're left with v on the left side, and then 2 times 5 is 10 on the right side. For our second example, we need to make sure we distribute the 8 to the 6x and the 5, and we get 48x plus 40 is equal to 40 minus 6x. We have to add 6x to both sides, or you could have subtracted 48x. And you're left with 54x plus 40 is equal to 40. From here, we need to subtract 40 from both sides. And we have 54x equals 0. Right here, a lot of people put no solution. But I still have a variable. I still have 54 x's, so there's no way that this answer can be no solution. I simply need to divide both sides by 54, and x will be equal to 0. Please do not write no solution next to this. X equals 0 is a solution. Today we will learn how to solve inequalities. First, let's talk about what an inequality even is. An inequality can be a greater than symbol. Make sure you fill in your notes for the greater than symbol, a less than symbol, a greater than or equal to symbol, or a less than or equal to symbol. Any statement using any of these symbols is called an inequality. One way to know if something is a less than or a greater than is to check with your left hand. If your left hand makes the same symbol, it's a less than symbol. If it does not match, then it's a greater than symbol. So some things to pay attention to as we graph inequalities. A greater than or equal to and a less than or equal to, they will get closed circles as we graph. But a greater than or a less than are open circles. And finally, do not shade the way the arrow is pointing. Shade the direction that makes the statement true. This will make more sense in just a minute. So let's look at these 3 examples. H is less than or equal to 6. Because it's a less than or equal to, it's going to have a solid circle, a closed circle. We're going to put 6 in the middle of our number line, and then we subtract 1 and that goes to the left, so 6 minus 1 is 5. We add 1 and that number goes to the right. 6 plus 1 is 7. Like I said, it's going to have a closed circle because of the equal to under the less than symbol. Because 6 can be an answer, we want to shade in the circle. Then we pick either the 5 or 7 and we plug it into the inequality. So I plugged in 5 for the H. 5 is less than or equal to 6. This is true, so I want to shade my number line towards the 5. Similarly, if I look at m is greater than -4, I want to put the -4 in the middle of my number line. I'm going to subtract 1 and put -5 on the left side, and add 1 to put -3 on the right side. This is a greater than symbol, so I put an open circle over the -4. I plug in a number to see if it's true. So this time if I plug -5 in, -5 is greater than -4. This is not true. So since it's not true, I want to shade towards the -3. I always want to shade towards the one that makes the statement true. Next we have 8 is less than k. On this one, we want to put the 8 in the middle, and then when we add and subtract 1, we put subtracting 1 makes 7, so we put it on the left. Adding 1 makes 9, so we put it on the right. Then I plug in a number, remembering that I'm going to put an open circle over 8 because there's no equal to under the less than symbol. I'm plugging in 9 this time, and 8 is less than 9, so I'm going to shade towards the 9. Notice the inequality symbol is pointing to the left, but this one shades to the right. It's because when I plug in 9, that's the one that makes it true. That's why I want to shade towards the 9. Here are the steps for solving inequalities. Distribute, combine like terms, make sure your letters go to one side, put your numbers on the other side, and undo. Usually this is by division, but not always. The only new step, because if you'll notice, all the steps are identical to solving equations, but the final step is that if you multiply or divide by a negative number, you need to flip the inequality symbol. That's the only new step. All right, let's go over some examples for solving and graphing solutions. So if I have -182 is greater than or equal to 7 times 2 minus 7x, I'm going to treat this just as if it were an equation. I'm going to distribute. I'll get -182 is greater than or equal to 14 minus 49x. Then I need to get my numbers and letters each on opposite sides. My letters are already to the right side, so I need to move my numbers to the left side by subtracting 14 from both sides. When I do this, I apologize, this should say -196 is greater than or equal to -49x. And then to get that -49 away from the x, I need to divide both sides by -49x. So when I divide both sides by -49, the reason these are highlighted purple is because the 49, the number I'm dividing by, is negative. If I divide by a negative number, I have to flip that inequality symbol. So now instead of being a greater than or equal to, it's a less than or equal to. And so 4 is less than or equal to x. So I'm going to put 4 in the middle of my number line and 3 and 5 on either side. Then I'm going to have a closed circle in the middle because it's an equal to. I check to see which number makes it true. In this case, 5 makes it true because 4 is less than or equal to 5. And I would shade to the right. For my second example, I have 8m minus 37 is less than -5 plus 8 times 3 plus 8m. We're going to distribute the 8 just like normal. when we do that, we bring everything down. 8m minus 37 is less than negative 5 plus 24 plus 64m. Then I combine like terms. The negative 5 and 24 can go together to make 19. I bring everything else down. Then I need my letters to one side, so I'm going to subtract 64m from both sides. That leaves me with negative 56m minus 37 is less than 19. I need to add 37 to both sides to get the numbers to the right side. This gives me negative 56m is less than 56. Then, to get the m by itself, I need to divide both sides by negative 56. Notice I divided by a negative number, therefore I have to flip the inequality symbol. If the number that I'm dividing by is a positive number, I just leave it alone. So this ends up m is greater than negative 1. So I put negative 1 in the middle of my number line. I subtract 1 and put negative 2 on the left and add 1 and put 0 on the right. It's an open circle because there's not an equal to on the greater than. And then 0 is greater than negative 1, so I want to shade this one towards the 0. So now we're going to go the opposite direction. We're going to be given the graph and we need to write the inequality. So notice on the first example, there is an open circle at the 6. So I know I need a variable. It doesn't matter what variable I use. And then all my shading is larger than 6. So I can say x is greater than 6 because all my shading is greater than 6. Next, I have another open circle, so I know it's going to be greater than or less than with no equal to. But this time, all my shading is less than 0. So I can, for the all my shading words, I can just put my variable there. So x is less than 0 because all my shading is less than 0. The third example is interesting. It's just a closed circle, so I know it's got to be an equal to of some sort. But because there's no shading, it's x is equal to 4. And finally, the last one, I know it's going to be a less than or equal to or a greater than or equal to. But if I look at the shading, all of my shading is less than 4. So I would say x is less than or equal to 4. Here are some for you to try by yourself. Pause the video and write these down in your notebook and try to solve them. Don't forget to graph them afterwards. When you're finished, hit play and you'll see the answers. This time, write the inequality for each of the number lines. Pause and write these in your notebook. And then when you have your answers, hit play and you can see the answers. Finally, here's your closure. Try it by yourself, see how you do.